Hey everybody, Theresa here and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a scrapbook layout to share with you. It's been a while since I've been in the mood to scrapbook in 12 by 12 format, so it feels good to get back into the groove of that. I have a layout for Natalie's album today, and I wanted to do a page about starting the first day of 8th grade for her, which was last fall. It was our first full year of remote learning, and so starting out at home, having the first day of school at home was definitely a different kind of experience for her. And I'm working with the Felicity Jane Krystal collection, and as soon as it landed on my door, I felt like the girl Krystal in this collection has just a little bit of sass and reminded me of Natalie. And so I wanted to do sort of a vignette on this page. And what I'm going to do is cut down the strips here from this pink on pink stripe. And they're going to sort of form the ground that everything is going to revolve around on this page. And then I'm going to use this little floral, it's sort of a green-gray floral, and I've taken these colors sort of from the photo. You can see the photo there. She's just sitting at her desk in her room, waiting for her calls to start. And so the first thing I'm going to do here is sort of form this hill from these stripes. And so I'm sort of visualizing here how they're going to go. I'm not adhering anything down just yet. I started to tape things down, and then I realized that it would probably, well, first I ran out of adhesive, and then I realized it would probably be easier for me to adhere the strips to a second background paper instead of directly onto that floral, so that I could get the cut that I wanted to make the hill shape. And so it'll all make sense once you see it come together. So I just took this scrap sheet of paper here and am adhering the strips to this white strip of paper. And I wasn't really worried about the height of this paper or anything like that. I didn't measure anything. Everything I'm just going visually and putting it down without really a lot of thought, and just letting the process take me where the process wants to go. And it's a really fun way of creating a layout and just seeing what comes to you every step of the way. And so what you will see throughout this layout is how the curve of this hill that I'm creating sets the tone and tells me where to put everything else on the page. And so this is definitely using the design element of line, or the principle of line. I get them confused. Principles, elements. And so the line here that we're establishing is this curve, and that is going to tell the eye where to go across the page. And so everything else is going to follow this line. And so you can see here that I'm starting to, the curve for the hill is starting to form at the top. And I don't know, for some reason, that first replacement adhesive that I put in my tape runner was so defective, it was driving me crazy. So I went and grabbed another one. And sometimes that just happens. And so the tool that I'm using here is a French curve, and this is a tool that we used in design school and architecture school for drafting a lot. And this particular curve came from Bo Bunny several years back. It's not available anymore, but you can get like a plain blue one in the drafting section of most craft stores. They'll have them. And I find it useful once in a while when you just want to do a freeform curve like this And so I established the curve the way I wanted it and then traced around the tool and then cut it out by hand and trimmed the excess from the background paper and adhered it down. And now you can see that I have this cute little hill established on my page, and I'm going to arrange some of these houses. And so the whole feel that I wanted to convey in this page is the idea of doing school from home, which is so different. Even though we went in lockdown in March of last year, and so the last couple of months of the 2019 school year were at home as well. But this whole idea of starting a new school year, it's just different altogether. It's longer than what we thought it would be, right? And a whole lot more serious than we thought. And but there's also a comfort. There was a degree of comfort in having the kids home and making sure that they were safe, and definitely a degree of privilege for us that our children have been able to stay home. But I used some of the die cuts and the wood home pieces that were in the crystal kit here to go across that hill. And so there's this idea of still an idea of community, because one of the benefits of staying with the school system is that our kids still have contact with their friends. They still have a group of people that they get to study with and work with every day, and teachers, and that's still a community. It's a different community, but that's a bit of the mood and the message here that's in this layout. And so also for my title, I was inspired by, those memes that go how it started and how it ended. And so that was the jumping off point for my title. And I just used the crystal alphabet set to spell out how 8th grade began, ... And again, just one of the things, this is fascinating for me because this is really the first, I'm just starting to make layouts about last year. And I wanted to just say that if you have not touched any photos from last year, don't feel bad. Don't worry about it. It'll come to you when you feel the mood strike you. And it will come one day when you're ready to. And one of the things that I appreciated about waiting to document anything from last year really was that I have the ability to be a little bit more positive now. Last year in August, this layout might have looked a whole lot different. And it would have been anxiety-based. It would have been a fear-based layout. And I wanted to be able, what I want to be able to do in my scrapbooking, and everybody feels differently about this. A lot of people process what they're going through and do their layouts while they process. And there's definitely value in that so long as it's not anxiety inducing for you. For some people that's anxiety calming, and for others that's anxiety inducing. And so for me, it was more reassuring to look back at August of last year and say, hey, we made it through. We made it through 2020. We're going to be able to make it through this year too, even though everything is still up in the air. There are no guarantees about any of this for sure. And there's still a lot of anxiety and still a lot of work that needs to be done. But I was able to present this layout from a place of hope. And I think that just for me personally, that's what I come to scrapbooking for, is to be able to see the hope and to be able to see at least some of the good in it. And I definitely feel like the feeling of home, the feeling of community are two of the things that were good, that we were able to be together as a family unit and take care of each other in that way. So continuing with the layout, and you can see that I added some of the flowers around those little houses, and I also did a little charm at the top of her photo, and I glued down the little twine pieces just a little bit, just to fill in some of that space, some of that background space there. And then I also am adding a couple of labels across the bottom. And this sort of one is a fun way to use up supplies and a fun way to use stamps. Also the crystal, that is the crystal stamp set from the Felicity Jane collection. And just continuing the line from left to right across the page, and just having a little bit of fun here in this bottom portion of the layout. And I have to say that it was just really fun to play with these products, to put them down on the page, just however it led me. And there were definitely some really cute little word strips and things like that. And so let me read to you what some of the things are that are across the bottom of the page. It says, growing together, hard work, the simple stuff, home is my happy place, everyday life, love, the date, I stamped the date there, 8/27/20, and then finding joy in my journey. And I also stamped, this is the life, at the end of the title over there on the far right hand side. And so that was a lot of fun, just to put that across there. And so then I also wanted to fill in a little bit more of the top part of the page, and got my trusty little cloud punch and used that with some of the solid cardstocks in the Crystal collection. And so just punching out some random colors. I used the lighter pink, the darker green, and the lighter green as well. And then I also was just playing around, and I decided to stamp some of the little tiny hearts on these clouds. And so that makes, what that did actually was tied in those clouds and gave them just a little bit of an embellishment so that they pop against the green background, because the clouds almost felt like they faded into that green background. Another thing I did was layered some of them with the foam tape so that they stand up a little bit, and there's a little bit of a shadow underneath those clouds that are popped up. And again, just creating a little bit of dimension to those clouds. And so they add a little bit of whimsy also to this page. I feel like that's really whimsical, is really what happened here on this page and through this process. And then you'll also see, because when I have a heart stamp on my stamp block, I'm going to put some hearts in some other places. And so I added a couple on the wood houses and around the title next to the flowers as well. Just in a couple of places so that motif gets repeated around the page. And then I, of course, wanted to have a spot for journaling. So I added that underneath the title, and again, just followed that curve. And I have to tell you that this is a fun way to do journaling if you worry about straight lines. Just writing the journaling in a curve was really fun and made it less stressful. And so here's what I wrote. I said, "This is what school looks like when it's a pandemic out there. I am so proud of you and how you are taking it all in stride." And that's sort of my journaling to Natalie. And then I also, on that stamp set, there was a little tiny heart. There was also this little tiny triangle. And so I'm using that triangle as well to call attention to some of the areas on the page. So that completes the layout. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you will hop over to the blog and check out all the details. Also, be sure and check out the In My Pocket Kids album class that is available for you to participate in, and you can join us at any time. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you back here again soon. Bye-bye.